Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've been on YouTube. I'm Francina Simone, author of books, Alchemist, data scientist, and other things. I was here on YouTube back in 2016 to 2020 as a literary critic. I used to review books, mainly in the young adult section, and then I kind of got burnt out on that and disappeared for a while back in like 2019. And then 2020 was wild for everybody across the entire globe. And from then, I was on kind of a hiatus and I dived deep into alchemy and spirituality. And there's a lot of research, a lot of learning, a lot of astrology that I had to learn. And I had always kind of known these things, but I wanted to master them. And that took me quite some time and a lot of work. But here I am back with the Midnight Scholar Society. I'm essentially a professor of the dark arts now. So over at the Midnight Scholar Society, I teach weekly classes on Tuesdays. We have a book club, also exclusive podcast and a newsletter where I teach the dark arts, astrology, witchcraft, spirituality. Spirituality is essentially how the non-material world interacts and impacts the material world, and that's it. Religion aside, that is not necessarily spirituality. Religion is a way in which we interpret spirituality. So I go to the source of things, and it's a wild, fun time. Over at the Midnight Scholar Society, we're entering into our second course, Part 2, the astrological houses 5 through 8 in May 2024, whenever you see this. And so I'm excited because it's fun. However, it is advanced material. So I'm going to use the YouTube channel over here to kind of cover some beginner level stuff like the art of practicing presence. Also, we're going to be doing transits and tarot reads for transits and upcoming astrological events and things like that. So have fun, join. I'm going to teach you a spell before I go. And if the spell works for you, you're in the right place. If it doesn't, keep working on that and then come back here later. Because what I do is deeply psychological and you need to be sound and you need to have some internal integrity. And so if this spell works for you, that might be a sign that you are definitely, or at least this channel is definitely the right place for you. If the spell doesn't work or you think it's hokum, not in the right place. Okay, so the spell. I'm actually really excited. I came across this spell. Actually, I created it while I was on a call with a client, and it's for people who suffer from rumination. It's for, especially if you are creative, meaning you have creative things that you do. You have dreams that you work towards regardless of where you are working towards those dreams. You're definitely a creative, but you've also probably undergone some type of trauma or issues with relationships. Specifically, this is for people where you are constantly misunderstood in your environment, meaning people don't see you. They come to you for things, but they don't necessarily acknowledge that they're coming to you for those things. They don't necessarily acknowledge the you that they're coming to. This is for people who feel like they're constantly people pleasing. Or ultimately, when you are alone, there are other people who seem to populate in your mind space, meaning you're either acting, thinking, or behaving based off of the thoughts and the feelings of others and not just yourself. This spell is going to help you with rumination. I love it. I've heard from my client who I actually came up with this, and it seems to be working like a charm, so I'm excited to share it with everybody. So everybody hold out your palm of your hand. And if you have been ruminating on any type of situation or you have a fear, I don't necessarily advise that you do this with fears that aren't attached to other people in your space or place. But if you have any type of energy that is going on in your mental space, meaning when you're in the shower, you're thinking about this. When you're cooking, you're thinking about this. When instead of doing the thing you want to do, you're thinking about this. If you've got that kind of energy going on, I want you to imagine all of that stuff and just stare at the center of your palm while feeling all of that. And while you're looking at it, I want you to ask yourself, if I was not focused on this, what would my attention be on? And close your hands. And then you're going to practice being present. 3 3 3s. You're going to take 3 deep breaths and look around the room and look at 3 different things. I see a light bulb, I see curtains, a car just drove by in the window in front of me, I see the camera. I can hear, we're going to talk about 3 things that we're using from our senses. I can hear water running. I just heard some knocking. I can smell, I don't know, the air is pretty clean in here. And I see something cute and I'm present. So now I'm having a hard time connecting with the camera. And then you're going to move 3 body parts. So like your neck, you can get up and you can move. The more you can move, the better. If you can get up and go walk somewhere, the better. But you see, I still have my hand closed. Eventually you're going to forget about what that was. And then you're just going to be present while you're present, just take in your environment. If your environment is safe for you physically, then it is safe for you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally if you ground into the environment, if it is safe for you, meaning you're by yourself for the most part. There's nobody else in this room with me, nobody pulling my attention, just the environment, taking the space. And as you do that, eventually new thoughts will come to you, and whatever the first thing that comes to mind, put your attention on that. And if you practice that every single time, eventually your elasticity gets faster, faster, faster. It works like a charm, and it's really healthy, especially if you're a creative person and you have things to do. Now, I will say, it doesn't have to be negative rumination. You can use this spell to figure out what to do next. For me as a creative person, I'm constantly doing something. Constantly. I've got I've got to make videos for Midnight Scholar Society. I also have to do some research on the astrological houses and put those things together. I'm reading Women Who Run with Wolves, which we're going to talk about on this channel because she is always a literary critic and that book is witchcraft. It's amazing. But I'm always doing something and my attention needs to shift between things. Also, I have kids. I'm in a relationship with another person, which requires time and energy. And also I have to take care of myself, which requires going out into the world by myself, taking time and energy with myself. All of these things require our attention, and your attention is your power. That's your source. So whatever your attention needs to be on, your body, your spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical body will point you in that direction. Oftentimes, if you're suffering from any type of coping mechanisms to deal with neurodivergence in a very neurotypical space, notice how I didn't say you're dealing with neurodivergence. You're dealing with coping mechanisms as a neurodivergent person in a neurotypical space, meaning you're in an environment that is not conducive to you, so you have to have coping mechanisms like thinking ahead, pattern recognition, foretelling the future so that you can navigate situations and people who literally just aren't paying attention or aren't self-aware to anything. Those are all coping mechanisms to deal with that stuff. That's not necessarily your neurodivergence. That's a coping mechanism to deal with neurotypical behaviors. So if you're constantly just doing that and your attention is constantly going around places, sometimes you don't know what to do next or where to put your attention, or you're in a burnout space where you can't shift properly because something's pulling your attention, but you don't want to do that. The spell works like a charm. Whatever's bothering you, sit in it. Sit in it. Don't distract yourself. Don't run. Sit in it. Put it in the palm of your hand. Close it. Get present and put your attention on something new. Allow it to come to you. If you're a super creative person and you're working on a creative project, and you don't know where to go next, like with writing and stuff like that, I'm always writing, sit with it. Close your hands, go be present. And eventually you will get bored and your creativity will spark like a light bulb inside of you. And it works like a charm, like I said. Anyways, so that's my gift to inaugurate the channel, this Midnight Scholar Society space for all of us. And I hope you use it and it does you and it serves you well, because it has for me and it has for my clients, which is great. I just, I'm thinking back to it. I made up that spell in the moment to help somebody, and it was a gift to me as I was, helping them. That was a gift back to me, and it was amazing. The spell is amazing. I love it. So go have fun. Bye.